If we are deviating too much from the customer journey, workflows, and the experience point of view, then probably we are bound to fail. Okay. And I think it's no more a time where we have FOMO of AI. It's a necessity today for all the business houses. And having a good AI strategy is becoming really key. That's where the 4 V's of big data came in: volume, variety, velocity, veracity. It became really difficult for these business houses to make sense of those data because humanly it was impossible to take any sort of insights out of that data.
Deep dive into the connection, what is the connection between a business strategy and a AI strategy?
There are 3 key phases that AI has gone through in all these business support functions. First has been operationalizing AI, second has been productizing AI, and third has been monetizing AI.
What is the high-level blueprint that we can utilize to meet the setting up a AI COE? Building AI product is very interesting, sounds very interesting to me, but how do you develop them? And what are the key components around it?
Building AI products requires a different mindset. It is not traditional software development lifecycle, which you can have really bad outcomes coming out of the AI because, as you say, garbage in and garbage out. AI governance, that how you pick up the right set of compliances around which these products are being built up, because you want to have that fairness and transparency into the system. Agentic AI is an overused term these days. A lot of people who have been from automation side, they would say that RPAs and the intelligent automation used to be there. We have to live 70% in present and 30% in future, because if in case we are not prepared, probably we are losing against our competitors or against the technology itself, because it's evolving pretty fast.
What is the single biggest misconception enterprises have about AI?
You may have short-term business impact without AI strategy. That could be sporadic. But if you want to sustain it for a longer time, AI strategy has to be there.
What's the most critical skill or mindset for AI teams in 2025?
Design thinking skills.
Hi, welcome to another latest episode of AIM Simulated Reality Podcast. My name is Purvi, and today we have Dr. Rajan Gupta, Director of Data Science and AI ML at Deutsche Telekom. Let us all welcome Dr. Rajan. Welcome, Dr. Rajan. How are you doing today?
Thank you, Purvi, and wonderful day, wonderful weather, and lesser traffic, hopefully.
So how did you travel today, right, from Delhi?
Yes.
So how was the travel from the airport to the place that you're staying?
I mean, it took lesser time to come from Delhi as compared to Bangalore airport to this place. So that's the irony. But yeah, all good and comfortable.
So all of my podcasts, most of the time I always start with the traffic part of it. So yeah, that's the question.
But Delhi is not far behind. So I must tell you that, we are catching up pretty fast in that sense that, we are equally taking that kind of a time to go from Gurgaon to Delhi or to Noida. So our offices are also taking equal amount of time. So it's not a differentiator anymore.
Great. So let me just go to the point. All right. So I want to understand why. What do you mean by AI strategy, and why did you actually pick up this topic?
That's a good question and a good thought. That why picking up. But let me give you a little bit of context. When these organizations are working, they are working from a business mindset.
Right.
When you say business mindset, they know what is their target audience, what are the products or services they want to sell, what are the kind of supply chain logistic parts they have to deal with, HR, finance, and the stuff that you generally associate with the business functions.
Right.
Now they know that how to make money out of those using those business functions out of the customers. And then, we saw that once the business houses were established since ages, we saw that there was a lot of digital transformation that kept on coming in. And digital transformation led to a lot of data generation which was massive. That's where the 4 V's of big data came in: volume, variety, velocity, veracity. It became really difficult for these business houses to make sense of those data because humanly it was impossible to take any sort of insights out of that data. The rise of AI technology happened due to that. The data was massive. Decisions were being made at a faster pace because of digital transformation, and hence AI was born. to have that kind of insights that can help you to generate those insights for better customer experience and business efficiency.
Okay.
So AI technology in itself is an enabler which can help these businesses drive efficiency and better customer experience. And from that perspective, embedding this AI technology into all the business operations and functions is what we term as AI strategy. And I
Okay.
think it's no more a time where we have FOMO of AI. It's a necessity today for all the business houses. And having a good AI strategy is becoming really key. Otherwise, you see reports from Gartners where 95% of the projects are failing. Media houses publishing so many reports
Yes.
of failing AI projects. That's primarily because of weak AI strategy, and that is where I think that I chose this topic to make awareness and literacy around this area for a lot of enterprises and leaders to take a cue from it. So in all, I think AI strategy is really important in today's context for large or small enterprises, and every leader and every organization should have it.
That's super interesting. Having said that, you touched upon business strategy first rather than AI strategy. So, can you explain further or deep dive into the connection? What is the connection between a business strategy and a AI strategy?
Right. Uh, from the business point of view, I've seen that AI has played crucial role in a lot of insights generation, but
Yeah.
it has went on to a phases level. When I say phases, I've seen that there are three key phases that AI has gone through in all these uh, business support functions. First has been operationalizing AI, second has been productizing AI, and third has been monetizing AI. Now, operationalizing, you can understand that it's supporting any of the business function with any of the data generation, and you use insights to take faster and better decisions. That has been the area of operationalizations. Then we saw that there is a lot of generalization that has happened. So whatever operational aspects were repetitive in nature, they became product by themselves. And then those products became more and more prominent. They were being used at scale by a lot of subsidiary organizations and other organizations outside the ecosystem, and that grew further. And now we are at a stage of monetization of AI where you are trying to generate direct revenue. So earlier it was more about the business efficiencies, the cost optimization. Now we are directly looking at revenue generation.
Okay.
Now, you can take an example of any retail organization, any quick commerce organization. You have a lot of customer service operations that happen. So any kind of transaction you want to analyze that data, that's operational AI. You create a product like any sort of insights dashboard or any sort of chatbot which is helping you to communicate with your customers, that's a productization. And if you start recommending sales or you induce any sales engine inside any of the chatbots, then it starts to monetize you, and it starts to give you customers, it starts to give you revenues, and it starts to give you more product recommendations or relevant product recommendations that helps you to grow your revenues and businesses. So from that perspective, this has been always the strategy where I've seen that businesses have seen AI strategy evolving over time. And based on these three strategies, we have seen that every organization has been adopting these three phases based on their internal maturity and what phase of technology adoption they are at. And to do that, I've seen that either they are setting up AI Center of Excellences, AI COEs, or they are outsourcing it to some good consulting firms or service providers who are helping them to implement any of these phases of AI maturity. Even at DT, we are having that kind of a mindset where COE is there, and we try to pick up some of the good cases which can help us to operationalize AI, productize AI, as well as monetize AI. So we are also doing that. So I think that's a general norm that we are seeing in the world today.
I would like to understand how the process of setting up AI strategy COE, Center for Excellence, what is the high level blueprint that we can utilize to meet the setting up a AI COE?
I think a lot of large enterprises and GCCs today are investing very heavily on setting up their own AI COEs, which helps them to grow and adopt the AI strategies in a better manner. And even if you look at different consulting and service providers, they are also having that AI practice area being set up, which is kind of closely following AI COE, but still they are looking forward to spend, invest, and utilize that time to showcase their expertise in this area.
Yeah.
So from that perspective, I think all the organizations are setting it up. Uh, Overall, from my experience, I've seen that AI COE is kind of related to growth principles, which is kind of an acronym for me, where G stands for governance. You need to have that kind of an executive sponsorship and a complete accountability for any of the projects. So that starts from the right governance, which is within the purview of the compliance and the guidelines, and you have the right accountability associated with it. The R stands for roadmap. Now, every business organization has to shoot for some certain business outcomes. That is really important for them to justify, and that is where you need to have roadmap aligned from the business outcomes point of view to your AI COE, so that you can have a prioritized implementation plan in place. So that's R for me. O stands for organizational structure. That's super important. You need to have cross-functional teams available to you, whether it is AI, product, data science, machine learning, engineering, architecture, data analytics, DevOps. There are a lot of cross-functional teams that goes behind building any of these setups, because any successful product requires that. So in that sense, O stands for org structure.
Okay.
W stands for a lot of workforce development. This technology is pretty much evolving at a very fast pace, at a very rapid phase, and hence you need to have that kind of learning and upskilling continuously to be taken up for your staff, so that they can learn new things, they understand the nuances of the technology, they can pick up all the state of the art methods and algorithms. So from that perspective, you have to spend on a lot of workforce development. T stands for technology and data, because the infrastructure, the compute that is required to manage AI technology is massive. You need to have the right tools and the technological infra components available to your disposal, without which you cannot really succeed. POCs may not require that much of infra, but to take any application live to the production, you need to have that kind of a tools and technology in place. So that's there. And H stands for holistic measurement. In my view, if something cannot be measured, it cannot be improved. So you need to have a lot of measurement and metrics in place, so that you can keep monitoring, evaluating your AI projects, and you can relate it back to the ROIs and what kind of impacts it is being putting up, because that is where we see a lot of gap. Based on these growth principles, I think we are devising 30, 60, 90, 180 days plan based on prioritizations, what do we want to achieve and how do we want to set up. So that's the major blueprint. Once the COE is set up, then we look at the different use cases. They go through different pilot phasing or MVP phasing. The successful ones gets picked up and get into the growth and scale phase. So that's how generally the COEs work, and that is where I've seen that most of the efforts are being spent.
I like the growth definition that you've actually provided. That's pretty interesting. Now, you spoke about use cases. How do you choose use cases through AI COEs? And in your opinion, which is the most widely used AI, which is the most widely used cases of AI COEs under enterprises, which has been implemented via AI COEs?
Right. I think use case selection is pretty tough, but generally you see that we associate with the 2x2 matrix on scale and impact. You can have low scale, low impact. You can have high scale, high impact projects. You can have low scale, high impact, or high scale, low impact kind of a projects. So from that perspective, we generally pick up. We start with low hanging fruits. Which are having high impacts, and even if the scale is fine, we are still okay with that. The third dimension that generally comes in is around ease of implementation also, which we generally try to associate while picking up the use cases, that how difficult or how easy it is to implement it. But that is fairly solvable problem, because these are dependent on a lot of technological decisions, which can be either created in-house or can be bought from the external vendors also. So ease of implementation still takes a backstage, but I'll say scale and impact helps us to pick up the right use cases under AI COEs. And we have that continuous communication happening between the different business teams, the different product teams, that what do we want to achieve, how do we want to achieve. So it's a joint effort that helps us to pick up the use cases under AI COEs. So that's there on the use cases side. Now, I think another important thing is that which use cases we have seen, getting implemented at a large scale. Now, if you look at the domain experts or the organizations which are working at a domain level or at a vertical level, you'll see they are solving a lot of domain-specific problems.
Yeah.
You see, pharma and life sciences solving for faster drug discovery and genome sequencing. On the other side, banking and financials would be solving for a lot more robust fraud detection and those kind of problem areas with the help of AI. Similarly, in retail and entertainment, you'll see a lot of recommendation systems being built so that they have the right product and the right content in front of their customers. And if you'll see quick commerce, they are solving for logistics and supply chain with the help
Absolutely.
of AI.
Yeah.
But as far as my experience goes, I've seen that there are a few use cases which are kind of adopted by every enterprise around the world.
Okay.
And these are based on two criteria, whether that is externally customer facing use case or an internal employee facing use case. And I've seen that two use cases under each category have been prominently being used. Now, talking about the external use cases, if you'll see from the customer facing side, any B2C, any B2B business has to serve their customers after selling their services or products. So that's what after sales service is all about. So customer service and sales bot is becoming a really important use case across the organizations, because that is where they have to serve their customer needs, the requests from the customers coming in. For example, you took a ride from Uber, you want your refund because of something that you didn't like, you want to connect to the customer service team. You don't have to do it in person, you don't have to kind of communicate with any of the human agent. You can do that with the help of technology. So that's the power of AI. That's 24/7 available.
Yeah.
So that's first use case I would say is very prominent. The second customer facing use case that I've seen is around the customer engagement. Now, just look at your WhatsApp. You used to have simple communication chats on your WhatsApp.
Yeah.
Recently, or let's say in last few weeks or months, they've introduced Meta AI. Now, what does Meta AI does is that it doesn't let you go out of your WhatsApp to search for any information, to look at answers to certain questions, to look at for some jargons. Anything that you need to search, you can do it there and then itself without leaving the ecosystem of the product.
Yeah.
That's where the engagement score improves. So that's the second use case that I'm seeing, that a lot of organizations which are digitally active in their ecosystem are putting in a lot of AI use cases to engage customers more and more with the help of public search use cases or any sort of creative use cases, image generation or voice generation. So these are the two use cases that I'm seeing on the external customer facing side. But on the internal employee facing side, I've seen that again, there are two problems that are getting solved. The first one is the search and retrieval use case. The organizations in today's world are working in a very siloed manner. That means they'll have a lot of information, a lot of data, a lot of files available to a lot of members, but in very siloed manner. There's no consolidation that's happening. And with the help of search and retrieval use cases, you can consolidate all the information, put it into technology, something called as RAG, and you can just put a search layer on top of that whatever you want to search in an enterprise setup, you can still retrieve that information, but this time you have the entire knowledge base available to you. So, that helps you to minimize your search time, improves your productivity. Also, it helps a lot of business-facing functional employees reduce average handling time of their customers. So that itself is a massive gain. So that's the third use case and the first use case under employee-facing. And the second employee-facing use case and the fourth overall use case that we are seeing emerging is around the developmental activities. That means India is a IT hub and software development hub. Now, from that perspective, everybody is focusing on how fast we can generate those softwares, how fast we can have engineering life cycles, how fast we can have software development life cycles. So from that perspective, I think a lot of coding assistants, a lot of low code, no code kind of environments, a lot of vibe coding environments are being set up,
Yeah.
where you see you have faster go-to-market times for the product,
True.
and engineering life cycles are getting shorter and shorter. So I think from my perspective, I have worked in all these 4 areas, and I've seen that these use cases are massively growing across industry and across the world. And if you'll see, these kind of use cases are also getting commoditized. You'll see a lot of products coming out of it which are saying that, hey, I can serve a search and retrieval problem for you. I can be your customer service bot. I can be your vibe coding tool. I can be your engagement tool. So from that perspective, you'll see a lot of AI products around the Silicon Valley and around the world are around these concepts, as well as you'll see the topmost fundings are also being given to such products because they have a massive scale as a use case. So in a way, I think these are 4-5 use cases which are massively getting adopted across the enterprises, and whether it's small or large enterprise, everybody is using that apart from the domain problems that they are solving.
So that's like an everyday thing then now. About, I think building AI product is very interesting. Sounds very interesting to me. But how do you develop them? And what are the key components around it?
Right. Building AI products requires a different mindset. It is not traditional software development lifecycle, which is SDLC as we say. It is more of AI DLC, AI development lifecycle, and we have to relate to a lot of components because AI as a technology is really probabilistic in nature or non-deterministic in nature. That is where you require a lot of experimentations and a lot of iterations to be done. Now, from that perspective, it cannot be treated as a linear workflow, which used to be there in a lot of SDLC kind of phases. From that perspective, we have seen that there are, again, 4-5 areas that are really important or crucial to building AI products. The first one being the data itself. Now, if we are building any AI product, the premise has to be on the data, and hence the data has to be, really matured to be ingested into the systems very well. So data maturity, both from the storage and the processing point of view, plus the quality of the data, that has to be superb. Otherwise, you can have really bad outcomes coming out of the AI because, as you say, garbage in and garbage out. So that's the kind of slang that we generally use. So data becomes the first ingredient. The second is the intelligence. Now, intelligence is something that is that has been there in the form of models, as we say, machine learning models or computer vision models or NLP models. So different models have been used to build intelligence. And AI products is a combination of multiple intelligence. Now, there's no single decision making that happens inside AI products. It's a combination of multiple decision points that's there. So, from that perspective, what kind of decision point we have to generate, how to generate that, maybe through a traditional machine learning model, maybe through small language models, maybe through large language models, is it through prompting, is it through fine tuning? So there are various ways to build that intelligence. So that comes as the second part of intelligence, and agent definition also comes under intelligence, that how you are defining your agents. The third important piece for AI products is infra. Now, infrastructure plays again a crucial role because you have to create those decision points and to make them up and running. So data is huge, as well as intelligence in the form of training and inferencing is also huge. So from that perspective, we have seen that infrastructure plays really crucial role, and the right infra availability becomes key to building AI products. The fourth aspect that we have seen with respect to this is the business promptings. Now, any AI product which you are making from the enterprise perspective, you have to have a lot of SLAs and operating procedures and business rules being embedded into those workflows. Then only AI products would work well for the enterprises. For example, if Uber has a policy, or Blinkit has a policy, that has to be there in their agentic systems or at the back end in their AI chatbots to be able to respond to the customer in a right way if they are looking for refunds or something that sort of. If you do not have very well-defined SLAs, very well-defined system operating procedures, business operating procedures, AI products are bound to fail. So, we are taking care of the fourth aspect very well, that operating procedures are there. And the fifth one is around the governance. The fifth one is around the AI governance, that how you pick up the right set of compliances around which these products are being built up, because you want to have that fairness and transparency into the
True.
system, that it is
Yes.
not having any kind of unintentional harm to the users or to the enterprises or to the society in general, and it is bias free. So from that perspective, it is fair and transparent, yet it is accountable with respect to its decision making. So we make sure that the governance piece is really well sorted out. So, from that perspective, all the AI products are being built up, and we have, we have seen that, if you are following all these kind of areas in a good manner, you have good products coming out of it. And once you have developed the product, I think that it follows a kind of a life cycle of its own. You have developed, you have, adapt, you have engage, you have scale, and you have optimize. So, you go through the different optimization routines and the
Right.
customer engagement routines with respect to these products. So yeah, these are the few components.
So you build everything or you buy everything. So how do you strategize around AI products in enterprise setup?
Yeah, I mean, build versus buy has always been a strategic question, and a lot of AI strategy depends on it. In my view, business dimensions and technical dimensions are the two things that influence this decision making, and it's a hard decision making. It's
Right.
not pretty
Right.
straightforward. Uh, it really depends on the maturity of the technology, that what exactly you want to build versus buy. Is it complex? Is it simple, or what kind of stuff it is, and how significant impact it will bring to your businesses. So
Okay.
from that perspective, it is important to understand these aspects, and these are qualitative aspects. If you look at leaders from different backgrounds and mindsets, anybody who is really business oriented would shoot for business outcomes, and hence may want to have a tendency to buy a product inherently, because that will give him an outcome in a really quick time. And somebody who is a really techie at the mindset level may want to have take an approach of building it by themselves, because it gives them more control over what you are building as an AI product. So I think there's no right side to it, but usually we see that there are few criteria that we generally consider while picking up this question as part of our AI strategy. What is the ease entry of into any kind of product? What is the exit difficulty? Because once you have entered, it is really important that in case you have to exit after a certain amount of time for any kind of reasons, what are the difficulties in exiting from that?
Yeah.
How much IP do you own? What is the control that you have technically over the product that you have built, or you have bought it from outside? So that's really key. Then what kind of vendors you are dealing with? Is it pure product? Is it pure services? Is it kind of a platform on top of which you want to build? So it really depends. And plus, what kind of compliances it follows. Is it good enough to be used in multi-tenant, multi-channel, multi-lingual kind of an environment or not? So, all this has to be taken into consideration, and it can be a balance of both, or it can be just one side, depending on the technical maturity as well as the business outcomes that you're shooting for. At DT also, if we look at the strategic side of it, I think we have taken a really balanced approach, a mixed approach, kind of for build versus buy, because as I remember, we started with 3 or 4 years ago, our Gen AI implementation journey, and at that point of time, we saw that we wanted to get into a lot of automation through the agentic workflows, but we didn't had that much of matured agentic AI platforms or frameworks that were available at
Okay.
enterprise level. So that gave us the reason to build it ourselves, and we created a language model operating system for ourselves, which was enterprise ready agentic framework,
Okay.
and that has been out open source now,
Yeah.
been taken over by Eclipse Foundation. But
Nice.
that was the decision that helped us to build on our own. But on the other side, we saw that RAG technology matured quite early, and it was becoming really fast paced as a commodity. Hence, we thought that buying it from outside would be a better decision, where we can quickly buy that technology, adopt it for our use cases, implement it internally, and then roll it out to the internal and external customers. So we took a decision of buying that. So it's really it's subjective to the organizations and the leadership mindsets, as well as the cost of technology, which is whether going up or down. that you take these kind of decisions. So there is no one side of it, but you have to take a balanced approach.
So, in your response, you touched upon examples of agentic AI perspective. So, what are the key components to consider strategic, application of agentic AI?
I think agentic AI is an overused term these days. Uh, a lot of people who have been from automation side, they would say that RPAs and the intelligent automation used to be
Yeah.
there. Then, why so much of uh, fuzz and so much of hula bula around agentic AI? But in my view, I think people are not really understanding the crux of it. Uh, Today, a lot of people are mad about agentic AI frameworks. Any new framework that comes into the market, you'll see thousands of LinkedIn posts, thousands of influencers posting about the different workflows and showcasing, hey, this is the best framework, this is the coolest framework that I have ever worked with, and you'll see 1,000 tutorials coming out of it. But at enterprise level, we take it differently. Agentic framework, all of them are really good. All of them are matured enough, whether it's LangGraph, Crew, Autogen, NA10, and anything around agent kits being developed by large players like OpenAI, Google's, and the worlds of those stature. We see that agentic AI frameworks does not call the shots here. It's
Okay.
the enterprise readiness and the maturity that has to be prepared to adopt these frameworks and then deliver a successful agentic AI application. Now, why do I say that? We have seen that there are 3 or 4 areas again which impacts the success of these agentic AI applications and not the selection of agentic AI frameworks. The first is the right context. Now, if the agents are not getting the right context from the enterprise knowledge, enterprise database, the transactional history and the memory management, it will never work. No matter what best agentic framework you are having. So you need to have investments on the right context. Second is that you need to have the right tools in place. Now, enterprises works on a lot of legacy systems, and there are a lot of tools that are available for which they may not have the right APIs being exposed to be consumed by the agents to pick up the information, to act on something, to take a call on agents' behalf, or the kind of autonomy that is required. That may not come up in case you do not have the right set of APIs being exposed to those agents. So that's the second piece that enterprises have to be matured on. Third piece is, again, as I told you, around business rules. Again, the SLAs and the operating procedures has to be there, that how agents work best on those kind of procedures. And fourth is that even after that, there has to be some sort of customer acceptance coming out of it. So
Right.
you work on different aspects, that how to throw the things towards the customer in the right manner, in the right tone, and all of those aspects. So customer behavior comes into consideration. No matter how cool your agentic AI framework is, you still may not have a right customer experience for them. So it's not just technology; it has business and the customer sides of
Right.
it as well. So from that perspective, we have seen that agentic AI applications are being developed on the maturity of these areas, and then you have the framework coming in that says that as part of your AI strategy, which framework would suit you based on various data science principles as well as ML principles. That there are different architectures that are available. Then you can start debating around frameworks. But at the strategic level, you need to have maturity, and that is where maturity comes from.
So, walk us through the customer acceptance. So, is the customer's behavior changing towards the AI product? And is it impacting the AI strategy?
Yes, I think from the strategic point of view, we have seen that digital literacy and AI literacy of customers have gone high, really high. I'll give you examples. Both my parents are in their mid 60s, and they are very active digitally as well as on AI.
That's nice.
Both of them are office bearers in their respective charitable organizations, and
Okay.
are looking forward to a lot of meetings, and minutes of meetings are being circulated. They have to communicate a lot with their groups and so on, and they've started to use a lot of translation services. My mother is not really good in English, so she's using AI to translate a lot of Hindi content to English, and that is helping her seamlessly communicating with the wider audience in written format at least. Similarly, my father is taking a lot of meeting notes and those kind of stuff with the help of AI.
Okay.
Now, what it tells us is, and I'm sure that's the story of the entire world right now. That whether it's a, 5-year-old kid, or it's a 70-year-old person, everybody is comfortable with using AI as a technology, using digital devices as a medium of communication.
Okay.
Now, this increases the burden on all the enterprises to have bare minimum baselines being defined for the customers. Now, customer as a personal person can have different kind of moods and behaviors. Some are impulsive, some are naive, some are
Right.
calm, some
True.
wants everything, some doesn't want anything, some are kind of willing to talk to you, some are willing to write to you. There are different kinds of customers, and as enterprises we have to take care of all those customer bases. We
Right.
cannot ignore any one of them, and hence we have to understand that what is the psyche that's coming out of it. So we have to create a lot of empathetic environment where tonality and the sentiments of the customers are being taken into AI products. Second, we have to consider the baselines around it, that at least somebody who has used ChatGPT or Perplexity or Meta AI understands some of the things, some of the workflows very well. So if we are deviating too much from the customer journey, workflows, and the experience point of view, then probably we are bound to fail. We have to match that minimum expectations in terms of latencies, in terms of experience. So that gives us really good food for thought that in our AI strategy, that what is the customer behavior right now and how it is changing. And you'll see also that earlier you used to have a lot of click based behavior, but
Right.
thanks to smartphones you are more conversational in your behavior right now. All the applications that you use, you are either talking to your application or you are writing to your application. You are not having a click stream based behavior where
True.
you used to go to a product catalog, select one of the
Right.
categories, then go to a men's section, put in filters, and all of those. Gone are those days. Nobody wants to spend so much of click stream based journeys. You just want to call out, I am going to Goa, I need dress suggestions on Flipkart or any other Myntra kind of fashion stuff, and you'll get those
It's all there,
suggestions coming
yes,
in. So
absolutely.
that's the kind of consumer behavior we are seeing for AI products, and hence AI strategies needs to take into account the baselines that has been created with the help of mass tools. From the customer's point of view, I think behaviorally we are seeing another aspect which is around the omni-channel strategy.
Yeah.
You see, as part of building AI products, we have to keep a similar kind of experience to the customers for our AI products on all the channels. Now, when I say channels, just assume that you are booking a ticket for airline via web or an application on your mobile, or maybe through WhatsApp channel, or maybe by visiting their service desk, or maybe by calling them up on their landlines or customer care numbers. There are different channels, but you still as a customer expect similar kind of behavior, similar kind of experience coming out of these channels. So I think it's really important that as part of AI products, we also understand this omni-channel strategy from customer behavior point of view, so that they are being given seamless experience irrespective of the channel that they are interacting with. And in this regard, I think personalization would also play an important role for building AI products, and as part of the strategy also, because obviously a lot of data constraints are there, that you cannot store and process information of customers without their consent.
True.
But if the consent is given, probably you can take a lot of cues from the profile and the background and the behavior of the customers to customize the offerings to them. It could be that if somebody wants to have refunds being made, and you see that you already have the information that in the past there doesn't seems to be any mischievous activity in the customer account, that he or she is asking it just for the fun of it. It's
Right.
actually a genuine refund. So those kind of insights coming out of the personal profiles, coming out of their past behavior, can be really helpful in building AI products. So as part of AI strategy, we are looking at these aspects as well.
So this is about the customer acceptance. How about the skill sets of the team? Is that impacting the AI strategy?
Team skill sets are critical. As I said that in AI COE setups, workforce development is becoming important area, and org structures are becoming important. So you need to have cross-functional teams coming in, where people coming from different skill sets formulates those kind of AI products team, and they come up with different expectations and different delivery outcomes. Now, on that side, I see that a lot of roles are changing these days. data scientist role is the prominent one. I come from data science background, and hence
Right.
has seen the journey, that how the work has evolved, how the skill sets have evolved. I think today you see a radical shift from being a model developer to being a prompter or an evaluator. Model development has been taken up by the big players like OpenAI and the Metas of the world, whereas data scientist role is more towards giving the right prompts, fine tuning them to certain data sets. So data set preparation, evaluating it. Evaluations is becoming really critical to a lot of these data scientist skill set, where they want to ensure that whatever query is flowing through these AI use cases, it's good enough. The other role that I see as emerging is the full stack AI engineering role, where
Okay.
you need to have end-to-end control, right from data ingestion to LLM or the model API calling, to fine tuning, to evaluation pipelines, and to the AI ops part of it. So deploying and monitoring it. So I think full stack engineering roles are coming up these days, which are becoming really important. The third role that I have seen with the help of AI products as part of AI strategy is forward deployed engineers. A lot of FDs are being picked up, and I see them as threat to consulting firms, because in the past, consultants used to have those kind of products being supported and advised to a lot of business clients. But today, the product companies are themselves having FDs with the skill sets of BA, a combination of BA and product and engineering and data science. So they have a little knowledge of all the fronts, and they are helping the clients to directly implement their AI products. So I think that's another area that has emerged. And from strategy point of view, I think enterprises are focusing a lot on L&D today, because technology is ever changing very fast at a very rapid pace.
Yeah.
And from that perspective, upskilling becomes really crucial. If we are not upskilling our workforce, then probably we are lagging behind the time, and we
True.
may see that other people are outpacing them and on their own and stuff like that. So we have to give a level playing field to all of them, so that they all can have that kind of an understanding of the technology. Whatever new is happening, whatever state of the art is happening, they have everything available with them. So L&D as part of AI strategy is becoming really, really critical.
Very interesting. So, where do you see this technology going, right? And what is the future and research in AI from your perspective?
Yeah, that's a valid food for thought for enterprises, because a lot of times we are too much focused on business outcomes and trying to achieve those metrics and those North Star KPIs to be achieved as part of our OKRs, that we forget that we have to live 70% in present and 30% in future. Because if in case we are not prepared, probably we are losing against our competitors or against the technology itself,
Yeah,
because it's
true.
evolving pretty fast.
Yes.
So from that perspective, in my view, we have to have a strong R&D unit in all the large enterprises as part of AI COEs or as part of the strategy also, where they should spend time on understanding and studying the new things that are coming up. Now, from the enterprise perspective, I see there are 4 or 5 areas that are emerging pretty fast. First is quantum AI, where quantum algorithms are helping us to process large data at speed and scale, so that we can have faster processing being done for solving complex problems, and which is not traditionally doable through traditional machines. So from that perspective, we really look forward to quantum AI being savior in the future. The second area that I see, which is emerging from the enterprise point of view, is physical AI, in which we see that AI is developing and being part or enabling the machines like robots or autonomous vehicles or smart devices to learn, act, and be part of complex problem solving in real world.
Right.
So real time machines and real time sensing being done, and then machines taking decisions. I think that's going to be really important, specifically for manufacturing and healthcare businesses, where a lot of physical setups are being done. So we see that going forward, a lot of physical AI is expected to come into consideration. The third area that I see emerging as is green AI. Now, we are putting in a lot of data centers, a lot of processing is being done, an LLM costs massive amount of carbon footprint whenever it is trained from scratch. So from that perspective, we need to find out really sustainable practices around our technology. So green AI is one such field which talks about models coming in a very carbon footprint friendly manner, and from that perspective how they can less impact the environment. So from that perspective, this area is somehow emerging in my view. The fourth area, which is going to be a part of the ongoing activities also, but it is going to be more prominent in future, is responsible AI. Now, accountability, trust, fairness, transparency, these are the things that we will need even more as we go into the deep set of AI products. Because AI products are non-deterministic in nature, you need to have those kind of accountability coming in. You cannot have any kind of decision being made by machines, and if it goes wrong, then what happens. Plus, you do not want to have biases and any kind of harmful intent coming into the consideration. So you want to have those guardrails in place where you have good amount of anonymizations and harmful content being filtered out of it. So from that perspective, I think responsible AI is gonna strengthen further in future. And fifth area I see is around eval ops. The way you used to have DevOps and data ops and AI ops around CI/CD pipelines, we see that eval ops is gonna be really crucial, because testing, debugging of AI products would be really important, because this is not traditional SDLC, this is AI DLC.
Right.
And that is where you'll see a lot of metrics computations which can help us to decode what went wrong and what went right for us from the AI products. Plus monitoring, alerting, standard reporting, all those kind of things can also be managed. So I think these are the 5 trends that I see emerging from the enterprise level. Now, you talked about the research as well.
Research, yes.
Yeah. So from research point of view, again, I am a hardcore researcher as well, and done a lot of research work myself. I think a lot of research problem statements are going around AI, specifically around Gen AI and Agentic AI. One such area that comes to my mind is, recently Meera Murthy's Thinking Machine Lab published one paper on deterministic LLMs. So
True.
I think that's going to be interesting, that how do you control the randomization, how do you control the probabilistic portion of these AI products, because that's really important for supercritical applications in enterprises.
Yeah.
So that's one area that's going to be super interesting right now. The second area that I'm seeing is around inferencing. When we say inferencing, a lot of model compression is going on, a lot of architectural components are coming in, which is helping us to have those kind of models which can give us reasoning in a lesser amount of time. So you see today, if you have reasoning mode on any of the AI platforms, you'll see it takes 2 minutes, 3 minutes to respond.
Yes.
But that's gonna be reduced by a lot in few seconds only, in fact, because for enterprise application it may not be acceptable. So from that perspective, I think a lot of companies are investing on faster inferencing at a lower cost.
True.
So model compressions and architectural changes is something that's going on, and a lot of researches are happening around this area. So that's second area that I see. The third area that I see emerging is around the context optimization. Now, context optimization is that there are a lot of algorithms that are being built up. There are a lot of scientists who are putting their brains to understand what is the right amount of context that we send to the LLMs or the agents to take a right decision. Now, from that perspective, it is kind of really raw, that how you want to pick up the right context. You do not have the right answer. There is no single right answer which is available to all the enterprises, that this is the right context that we should have. This much context I should send. So a lot of algorithms and a lot of things are getting developed around the context optimization. One last area that I see emerging in the research is around new architectures coming in. Now, when I say architectures, the whole world was fascinated by transformer architecture, which had attention
True.
mechanisms.
Yes.
And token generation was being done.
Yep.
Now, we are seeing that there are few challenges with the token generation approach and the attention mechanism, and you'll see a lot of AI generated content is also coming in. So I see a lot of research being spent upon by or being done by a lot of scientists to come up with newer architectures, be it Mambas, SSMs, linear recurrent networks. So there are newer architectures that are coming outside of transformers, which are looking promising right now, but they are still in research phase. We'll have to see that whether they'll have a full-fledged enterprise-grade application, coming out of them or not. But we'll have to wait. But I think, as a general part of AI strategy, we must spend some amount of time on R&D, both from the enterprise point of view as well as from the research point of view, that what kind of problems would be helpful for us.
Wow, I think that's very insightful. So with your regular questions, we are kind of here, but I have 5 rapid questions that I would like to ask you. So I hope you're okay with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go for it.
So I'm going to start with my first one, right? If you could assign an everyday chores to an AI robot, what would it be and why?
I think it has to be healthy meal planning. I cannot control my taste buds, so probably, with age, with my BMI, and kind of my habits, and what kind of seasonality is going on, I think if AI can prepare a good healthy meal for me, I think I would be happy.
Wow, I mean, that's very interesting. I think it's just not you. I think everyone will start using that when it comes to a
So
healthy
that's a
meal.
new use case for entrepreneurs.
Absolutely. Moving to the next one. What's the most bizarre AI application you have seen actually work?
I mean, there are a lot of bizarre applications. People are creating AI applications just for the sake of it. But one I would remember is, face recognition for cows in smart farms. I mean,
For
I don't.
cows?
Yes, for cows. I mean, I couldn't
Wow.
understand the applicability of it. Maybe I am too naive to understand that. But I found it really bizarre that you have facial recognition systems for cows in smart farms. So that's probably.
The next time I use a facial recognition on my phone, I'm actually going to remember this statement. Okay, my third question to you. What is the single biggest misconception enterprises have about AI?
It is simple. They can have sustainable business impact without AI strategy. I mean, whatever concepts we have, talked about right now, we have, spoken about it. I think AI strategy is something which is really crucial now, and it will
Yeah.
become even critical going forward. So if you want to have sustainable business impact, you may have short-term business impact without AI strategy. That could be sporadic. But if you want to sustain it for a longer time, AI strategy has to be there. And that's a misconception right now. People are, or enterprises are spending less on AI strategy. They are not really evolved that ways that they can have those multiple aspects covered up.
True.
There are not specialist experts that are being hired for those kind of roles, but I think it will be future.
Nice, good. So, what's the most critical skill or mindset for AI teams in 2025?
Design thinking skills.
Okay.
Since it's iterative, it's experimental in nature, every functional team member who works in any of the AI products or any of the service part or product development needs to have that design thinking embedded in his day-to-day operations. Otherwise, he would struggle.
Nice, very nice. My last question. Okay, I'm not going to take too much of your time, but yeah. If you could use AI to solve one unsolved global challenge overnight, what would you choose and why?
It has to be access to clean water. Because it's super important for us. I mean, our body is composed of maximum amount of water is there. Plus, our Earth is also kind of surrounded by a lot of water. So that's super critical.
Okay.
B, I think as a data scientist, I see a lot of improvement scope is there because a lot of data points are there. Whether it's around the cleaning part, whether it's around the optimization part, saving part, usage part, we can really control a lot of water usage and water habits. Because we have seen in the past, you keep on saying to people, save water, every drop is important.
Yes.
Government has run a lot of campaigns, but still people are not really, responsible. So here comes the role of technology. You can really control the usage and the misusage of water, and just have it used and accessible, make it accessible to a lot more people who are in need of it. So access to clean water is something that I would love to solve.
Yes, keep water, some water for the next generation as well.
Absolutely.
I think I completely agree with you. You know what? Now we have come to our end of our podcast. Thank you, Dr. Rajan. I think this has been a very insightful one and a very thought-provoking to think around, what's next in AI strategy, right? And I also had fun. Thank you so much for bringing in that in. Until next time, for the next simulated podcast.
Thank you, Purvi. I'm really excited, and it was really an honor to be here and speak to you. Thank you very much.